We have talked about cars as investments or not as investments many times in the past, but there's a new angle we wanted to touch on tonight. And the disclaimer, of course, that we are not investment advisors and we're not actually like giving advice on investments, because really they're cars. They aren't by definition investments. Well, I guess if you're on Rally Road and you buy shares of stock in cars, then they're registered with the SEC and that is an actual investment. But traditionally, as we see them, we just buy an asset and all that. But the first thing I have to get off my chest is a matter of semantics. I've been looking at modified 930s recently, and so many of them say that they've invested $100,000 in upgrades and or maintenance. And that really, no, you didn't. Can we just be honest and say you either spent, burned, or dumped that money? I sunk $100K in investments. Like, let's be honest. You're not getting that money back. It's modifications. It doesn't help you on resale. In fact, it's the opposite, because a modified 930...
This bottle of whiskey's almost fully invested.
Pretty much. Pretty much. It's a stock 930. While it's not as good as a modified one, is worth far more than one with modifications. So, let's just throw that term out. Be honest with yourself and everybody buying it. But really, are cars investments? I feel like people are convinced they are. If they are, how do you actually do it right, and how do you do it wrong, right? If we're saying that they could be good investments, which I'm going to say they're not, but let's just, for the sake of the discussion, how do you do it right and how do you do it wrong?
Balls and patience.
Okay.
I'll expand. All right, so...
Expound. Tell me more.
So please do.
We got to make this last for like 20
as
minutes.
we all know, and things me and Doug have told people for the last 3 years, that got really expensive really, really fast. You look at what stuff was paid for in 2020, 2019, and what it costs now, it's almost
double. Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, 3.6 turbo in 2014 was 85, 90 grand. Now, good luck touching one for $399, $450.
Yep.
And some of them aren't even, you don't even know where those cars have been and how they've been restored. You've got a 40,000 mile car. You have no clue what it was 5-10 years ago.
Okay, so you could actually make the point that a 3.6 turbo proves that a car is an investment. Because if you bought one 100%. In 2019, you would have made money. If you bought one in 2010, you would have made money. If you bought one in 2016, you would have made money. 12.
If you would have bought one in 2005, you wouldn't have made money.
Sure. If you bought one in 2015 and sold it in 18, you wouldn't have made money.
Yeah.
So it's partly timing.
Everything's timing.
Okay, but 80% of day traders lose money. And that's in something that historically goes up in value. No, I'm talking about stocks, right? Investments.
You mean real investments?
Real investments historically have gone up over time. Yet people who try to time the market, 80% of them lose. So if you try to time cars, which historically go down in value, like how much smaller percentage of success are you going to have?
What does your financial advisor always say? Hold, right? If things go down, don't pull it.
I am my own financial advisor.
Whatever. So talk to yourself. But when things get a little rough in the market, you don't just pull it, you wait.
Okay.
Right? So when things are great, you have your choice. Collect your gains, pay your taxes.
Talk about that later.
Yeah. Or, it's just one of those situations. It's double-edged sword sometimes with investments, because you don't know whether to pull it out, leave it in. Cars are kind of the same way. The last year has kind of been a topsy-turvy sort of ups and downs with a couple cars. You don't know what's coming up, what's going down. Everything's going up. I think a couple things go down.
Yeah. Well, buying... Well...
That made no sense.
You're right, it didn't. That's fine. I wasn't going to say it, but you said it.
No sense. Cut that.
Here's one thing that doesn't work, for sure. Most of the time... Well, buying new cars short-term can work, right? You buy a new GT3 RS. If you can get it at MSRP, you have an immediate return. But that's not really an investment. That's just, I gamed the system so I could get one at below market value.
Right.
That's not being a genius. That's not being an investor. That's just, I knew they were going for 150K over, and I happened to play the game to get one at sticker 50 over. Right? Mm-hmm. And probably those will go down. It's really hard to take a car that sells for 200K over sticker new and think that you're going to, like, that's going to be a great investment, right?
Well, and I think that's not just for cars either. There's all the shoes, video games, watches. Like, there's so many things where there is not.
Sheffield Watches do not sell for over sticker. They are a great value. Value on merit, not just price. SheffieldWatches.com.
Yeah, nice. I mean, you can compare a GT3 to a Rolex, Daytona, right?
Yeah.
You walk into your local dealer / AD, buy it for MSRP, walk down the street, sell it for double the value, or in a Daytona's case, pretty much double.
But that's a short-term flip.
That's the same thing with GT3. Also, it's still what did a GT3
that's arbitrage. That's not investing.
Right. I'm going back to
if you bought a Rolex 15 years ago,
right,
it would have gone up in value.
Yes.
But our watches investments, you're a watch guy. Yes. You said you're net loss. You're a watch expert.
Yeah, I've done terribly on buying and selling watches.
But have you enjoyed the experience of the watches you've had?
Well, you have to get rid of something to get something. If you want something new, you have to lose something old sometimes. Let somebody else get the gain so you could enjoy the new piece.
Yeah. Let's talk math. People are a big fan, speaking of buying cars new and holding them, especially, I think, with American cars, right? The guys buy the Indy 500 pace cars, the Dale Earnhardt edition, Monte Carlo. That is their retirement plan. So let's look at math on, let's say, a 93 Dodge Viper, right? That, by all predictions, if you were into buying new cars and putting them in a bubble, that would be a great investment car, right? I mean, nothing like it had ever been produced in the American market. Front-engine V10, wild sports car, revolutionary design, fairly limited production. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that. A 93-mile Dodge Viper RT10, I think it was also a 93 model year, sold on Bring a Trailer last year for $170,000. My numbers aren't going to be totally accurate because I ran the numbers calculations based on today, but let's just assume it's worth the same today as it was last year. So people thought, oh my gosh, that's a great investment. Look how much it went up in value. But let's actually compare it to the inflation-adjusted numbers and the opportunity cost. The original MSRP in 93 was $52,000. Inflation would make that $115,000 today. So, okay, you're still ahead of inflation, not including insurance and storage costs. And I guess if you never drove it, there's no maintenance costs.
No gas.
Didn't do anything.
Or a lot of maintenance costs.
Yeah, well, not for you, for the next guy.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so you're a little bit ahead of inflation. If you put $52,000 into the Dow Jones Industrial and just into an index fund in 1993, guess how much you would have today?
I'm guessing a lot more.
That'd be, Doug, I'd go with $273,000.
$659,783. So you lost $500,000 by putting that Viper in a bubble. It is not a good investment. So that's one way that new cars sitting in a bubble, not a good plan. Not a good plan.
I remember at some point there was like a Marauder that had 12 miles on it on Bring a Trailer, and it sold for less than what the inflation adjusted cost of the car.
Right.
And the dude like, oh, we've started it up every couple of months as it's been jacked up to let everything move and keep it. And it was like this whole thing, not even inflation.
I don't have to do any of that with stocks.
Yeah. Let's go back to that Dale Earnhardt Monte Carlo.
Do you have 7 of them?
I know a guy that does.
Seriously?
Remember when it had the Tasmanian Devil? And oh, yeah, he's got one of every... Yeah, absolutely.
Well, because they made like 5 of them, didn't they? There was like the one with the flags, and then there was the
cars, and there was...
Yeah, there's so many.
There was one that actually looked exactly like the...
limited...
Not exactly, but it was stickered like the NASCAR.
Yeah, big old number.
Drive that to Cars and Coffee now. Please.
I will
buy your coffee. I will buy your coffee.
What? I need the keys first. I'm not going to go buy one.
Okay.
That's an expensive coffee.
Well, all this guy's cars have no miles on them, so you're not driving these. He's still waiting for that inflation, that investment bump.
All right. So, Sabo, you touched on essentially the concept of good timing. Mm-hmm. But part of the timing. You said balls and patience. So in order to, let's say, get a gain on cars, because they probably won't beat the market at large unless your timing is perfect and you just know, have a crystal ball. But in order to do it, I think most people follow a trend. So they're buying when stuff is going up already. And because of this contracted rise in values after the pandemic, people think that that's repeatable, right? Like, I can buy a car and a year later it's worth more. But the real way to do it, the way people did it long before that, is they bought cars that nobody else cared about and just held on to them long enough. You have to be willing to hold on to them long enough for years and years. Like I bought that Lamborghini Halpa one time. Mm-hmm. Nobody gave a crap about that. And I kept it for 3 years and still nobody gave a crap. So I sold it for a 10K loss. I didn't intend for it to be an investment. I just bought it wrong. So I was like, I'll just wait the market out. Eventually these things will realize their gains. Well, I bought it in 2007 and sold it, gave up in 2010. Mm-hmm. If I had held on another 10 years, the car would have gone from 35, which is what I sold it for, to 100, right? Not a good investment. I could have put that money somewhere else and made more. But the point is, nobody cared about Halpas. I could have bought as many as I wanted for 30 grand, but I would have had to sit on them a long time until somebody cared.
Painfully sit on them.
But that's really the only real way to do it, or one of the ways to do it.
I took that car to so many car shows and zero care.
I won best kit car at a car show.
Exactly.
Did you seriously?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I got the trophy.
I took it to a cruising. And everybody just thought it was a Fiero.
Oh, man. Another way to make money doing this is to control a market, right? So there's people out there, I won't name names, but I know people who have done it recently. Lamborghini LP640 stick shifts. A couple years ago, somebody bought every single one that was available and made offers on all the ones that weren't available and immediately dried the market up and essentially double the value because he controlled all of the supply. There's somebody that's been doing it recently with roof cars. Mm-hmm. Every single one. The roof CTR Yellowbird is going off at Gooding auction in a couple weeks. Estimates like 6 million.
Whoa, spicy.
We talked about that car a little while ago on the podcast when it was 4.5.
I was offered that car.
You told me it was 4.5, and at that number, I'm like, that's crazy. But somebody's controlling the market, so it's going up because they're making it happen
and educating also.
Yes, and educating or selling.
Sure, but that's educating.
Yeah. But you need to pick a small enough market to be able to control it, right? Mm-hmm. So, how much money would it take to control the Carrera GT market?
How many of those did they make? There was
1270.
Yeah, so that's kind of a lot.
Right. So, if you figure that, what's the average, the median value of a Carrera GT right now?
1.1, 1.2?
No, 1.5 probably.
I'm talking about, I was thinking about cars.
If you take 1.1 is probably the bottom of the market with miles. So because the paint to sample cars are probably 3 to 4, maybe depending on the car.
Maybe more.
Yeah, okay, more. So let's say 1.5 conservatively, maybe 2.
Let's just use 1.5. That's
okay.
A nice, easy number to think of.
Easy. So you have about a $2 billion market cap on Carrera GTs. If you want to tie up 2% of the CGT market, it would be $38 million. And let's face it, if you're going to tie up that market, you're buying the best examples, right? So you're not buying $1.5 million ones, you're buying the 3 to 4.
Or you buy all the bottom feeders. Just buy them all.
Yeah.
The collection of all the worst.
I've never seen that strategy work.
Buy them all.
Hold on. Let's call Ed Bull in.
No, that's the Hamilton phone. That's the Hamilton phone.
So you're probably $80 million to try to tie up the Carrera GT market. That's not... But people do it. They buy I got an Audi R8 V10 manual. It's an investment. Okay, yeah, no, you're a victim of the market if you're just riding it out.
I'm surprised how much those cost with miles.
The V10 manual sticks, yeah,
like a 50,000 mile car, retail like 140, 150, just
little less than that.
I've seen them actually sell.
Yeah,
I'm thinking wholesale number, trying to figure out what it actually would sell for, but 125 to 130 has been the buy numbers on those.
Yeah, they're good cars. I just think it's funny that like individuals are saying, "Oh, I'm buying this one car as an investment, right? This market is going to go up." And I'm like, you have no idea what's happening. Like, that's cute you bought a V10. I know a guy who has 15 of them in his warehouse. And even that's not controlling the market because there's plenty of them out there for sale.
It's an Audi.
It's an Audi. The V10 coupes are reasonably rare, but
Like a weird belly.
Well, and I think people forget too that, or maybe they don't realize that the cat is out of the bag on just about everything. People are shopping for cars, people are looking at cars, people are thinking about cars all the time. So there's no secret left that is like, at least I don't think that is incredibly undervalued to the point where you could buy up a significant share and try to control it. Like
Yugos.
yeah, but are those
We could
like,
buy all the best Yugos on the planet for like 50 grand.
Nope, you couldn't.
I couldn't?
Nope.
The best ones.
Nope.
You know something we don't?
Yugo convertible. They made like 2.
how much are those?
Okay, just the coupes.
All right.
Let's control the Yugo coupe
Ford
market.
Pinto.
We'll make them $30,000 cars.
Yeah, there you go. Resto Mod 1.
That's like the tact with all the like meme coins or like bad like cryptocurrencies is you buy them when it's like 0.000005 cents per coin. You put $1,000 in, and then if it goes up 1,000%, you're like rich.
Crapshoot, man.
Let's do it. Yugos?
I'm not.
You in?
Nope, not in.
Okay.
I got a yellow one here on the.
But
well,
that
some
warehouse
follows,
space
that
alone.
follows what you said. You buy it when people don't care
Yeah,
about
of course.
it and wait long enough for them to care.
Yeah, catch a trend on before it goes up.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
Yugos, nobody wants them right now.
I think you need one of these.
Follow your
That's
own
what I'm
advice,
talking
Sabo.
about, man. Dude, I could draft somebody on the highway.
We need to get all of the like stickered up Dale Earnhardt
Right now,
Monte
Tyler is
Carlos.
looking at a
Cross
2002.
Yeah,
Can we control the Murano cross cab market?
Ethan will be king of the Murano cross cabs. You'll have to come to his warehouse.
All right. Well, let's put that discussion to bed. Let's go to the shrewd negotiator. This is kind of more of a wall of shame this week, right? So ridiculous offers that come into dealers or people on Marketplace trying too hard. This was one we got offered on our GT3 RS that we have for sale. And this is a real text to us or email. You probably wouldn't be interested in some equity in an 11-year-old beverage company that is the fastest growing organic beverage company in the United States, according to third-party syndicated grocery store scan data, that does $45 million in sales profitably, would you? Well, they said profitably. How profitably? I'd hope you're making a profit on $45 million in sales, but are you making $100 grand or $4 million? I could do cash, but sometimes the right folks understand.
The right folks? Sometimes what?
That's the whole thing.
That's what he wants to. He wants to.
There's no spreadsheet. There's
I'm
no,
sure.
like-
I'm sure if we asked
you
him
should
for
ask him.
financials,
You should ask him for financials. Come on,
I don't want to get his hopes up. But
discount the car $5,000.
I think he wants us to take like full trade, straight
Oh,
trade.
no kidding. Of course he does. He's offering you a company.
The funny thing is, he says I could do cash. But I guarantee you he won't. That's what people always say, right? Like, I could pay cash, but I'll finance it. Well, sir, you have 400 credit score, and it's going to be 25% APR. Well, but you said you could pay cash.
Yeah.
The money's tied up elsewhere. It's in investments. It's in.
How about you finance?
Yikes.
Yeah, so we're not going to do that
Another thing
trade.
that's changed in the world with cash. Walk into a dealership and go, I'm a cash buyer. They're like, nope.
Get out of here.
Nope.
Do you have a trade?
You need to finance this amount or no deal.
Yep.
Are you still thinking about beverages?
No.
I am.
I was honestly trying to think of a joke about like poor. That would put me in the poorhouse. I don't know. That there we go. That trade would put me in the poorhouse. Oh, I should
do
write
like
my
the
jokes ahead of time.
silence before.
Yeah, I had to break that up. I had to break that up.
Nuts for Sticks is a brand celebrating the manual transmission in all its forms. So forget those flappy paddles because we like shifting ourselves. Check out our fun and funny stick-themed shirts at nutsforsticks.com and save 10% on your order using the discount code SwitchCast. That's nutsforsticks.com and use code SwitchCast.
Thank you for joining us for SwitchCast with Doug Tabbutt and Tyler Sanders, produced by Ethan Huffnagel. SwitchCast is an automotive entertainment and opinion show, and nothing we say should be taken very seriously. We do not give tax, investment, legal, emotional, or professional advice, and the only licenses we hold are driver's licenses. The opinions expressed on this show are exclusively held by the people pontificating at that moment and do not reflect the values of our producers or sponsors. Our theme music is provided by Emily and Ivory. You can stream their full album on Spotify or SoundCloud. If you like this show, you can stream it in its entirety on your favorite audio podcast platform. Check out switchcast.live for more info.